And now, there he is, Joel Rubin, former US Deputy Assistant Secretary of State and a Democratic strategist, joining us from Chevy Chase in Maryland. Joel, what can the Democrats do with this? As Shihab and Kimberly have been outlining for us, the whole process, it can stretch on. And there's only a number of months left until the election in November. What can the Democrats do with this, if you like?
So, Kamal, this is a good day for American democracy. That's the key thing to take out of this decision. And for Democrats, who we've been arguing for a number of years now during the Trump administration that Donald Trump is a threat to American democracy, we can now say, look, even the Supreme Court, the Republican-leaning Supreme Court, two justices of Donald Trump's picking, they are on our side. So in that frame, that's strong for Democrats. And I think it also gives fuel to congressional Democrats to continue investigating and continuing to ask questions and pushing. The president does not have immunity. That's what he asserts, and that's what the Supreme Court said he does not have. So that strengthens Democratic oversight.
Kimberly was talking about how everyone's putting a positive spin and saying they've won, basically. Nancy Pelosi's line is that, well, we can work with this in the lower courts and that it can move ahead. Do you agree with that? And if so, is it just something that will take as long as it takes in the end?
I think on a technical level, yes, there's a truth that both sides can look at this decision and say that they technically obtained some validation for their perspective. But at the broader level, Donald Trump was defeated today, and that's why he's reacting so badly, because he has been asserting for years now that he is untouchable, that nobody can do oversight of him, that he has no accountability. Well, he does. And the accountability requirement for his office was made clear by the Supreme Court in stating that he must be providing information to Congress and to the state's attorney's office in New York. So that is a defeat for him. It's a strengthening of the rule of law in our democracy. And I think we're going to see this play out in the next few months in the political space about whether or not this country should continue to have someone running it who doesn't believe in the rule of law.
It's interesting when you talk about, I mean, when you were just saying there how the president does have to cooperate and hand over these things. He should have done this already, shouldn't he? The fact that we're even got to a Supreme Court position is extraordinary in itself, because presidential candidates usually, by convention, disclose their financial records.
Always do that. We have to be very clear. This is abnormal. Donald Trump's behavior as a candidate and now as president is atypical. It is not an American tradition for the president or a leading contender for the presidency to act as if they do not have a responsibility to share with the American people who they are and what their financial background is and what their ties are. This has been a struggle, but now today the Supreme Court has made it clear that he must, in this case, and he or she must in the future. That's very strong. Donald Trump is trying to hide something. He's going to court to hide something. We don't know what exactly it is, and we won't before the election, but we do know that he's afraid of the American people knowing about who he is and where he comes from.
Joel Rubin, always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.